Welcome, 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 all of our beloved Travel Week readers. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Travel Week webinar. My name is Candace Abraham, and I am going to be your Travel Week host. Today, we have a really exciting show for you. We've got Travel South Dakota here, and I am so excited to learn more about what's been going on in this destination. Before we get into the presentation, just have a few little bits of housekeeping to go through. So first and foremost, if you have any questions that come up during the webinar, please don't hesitate to put them down below in the question and answer chat box. At the very end of the presentation, I will go through any questions on your behalf. So please feel free to put any questions in there anywhere along the way of this webinar, and then I'll answer them at the end. If you'd like to chat with your other travel agent friends on this webinar, you can do so in the chat box, or if you have any, or if you have any issues with tech support that you need help with, please feel free to put that in the chat as well, and we'll be sure to help you out. And then we have another exciting piece of information, which is our prize. Today, for participating in the Travel South Dakota webinar, we have a very exciting swag bag from Travel South Dakota, which includes some socks and shirts and a beautiful, beautiful piece of art from South Dakota. So that is very exciting. For those travel agents who stay all the way through to the end of the webinar, you will be eligible to win that prize. We will pick a winner after the webinar is over and send a thank you email to all the participants. And in that email, you will find out who the winner of today's webinar is as well. And so, as you know, here at Travel Week, we are dedicated to always providing travel agents with the information they need to sell the best holidays and travel product to their clients. And with that in mind, and without further ado, I would like to introduce you to today's guest. Her name is Callie Geigel, and she is the Global Travel and Trade Representative for Travel South Dakota, and she is here to teach us more about this amazing destination. And so with that, Callie, I will pass the floor over to you. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Candace. I am doing great, and I'm so excited to be talking about South Dakota with all of you.
Awesome. We're excited too. And so with that, I'll pass over the floor to you, and I'll see you again at the end of the presentation for a question and answer period.
All right. Sounds great.
Okay. Thanks, Callie. Take it away.
Today, we are going to be going over all things South Dakota, throw you guys some itineraries and some ideas for your next trip for your clients. So today we'll start off with talking about some international airport hubs, and the three that we recommend are Denver, Minneapolis, and Chicago. And we have two great regional airport hubs, and that is in Rapid City and Sioux Falls. One of our most popular itineraries, which we call the road most traveled, is from east to west or west to east along Interstate 90. And if you're not doing a fly drive, we've seen quite a few of our Canadian visitors coming down the I-29 interstate as well. So we have 8 of our attractions here that we have tokened as the Great 8. And as we go through, I will point those out and have you guys learn a little bit more about each one of these. So we are going to be moving from west to east as we go across South Dakota, just to give you guys kind of a little bit of idea of where we are at in the state. And we're going to be going through it by regions. So this is what we call the Black Hills and Badlands region, and that is the westernmost part of the state. So Rapid City is our second largest city and the gateway to the Black Hills. As I mentioned before, it's a great regional airport hub. It's our second largest city in the state. They also token it as the City of Presidents because there's life-size bronze statue of every U.S. president spread throughout the downtown area. Main Street Square that you see on your far right is a vibrant area that hosts events throughout the year, such as concerts, shops. And we also have many rodeos throughout the summer, many Native American cultural activities and shops in the area. One in particular, downtown Rapid City, is Prairie Edge. And then a little bit outside of Rapid City is Reptile Gardens. This is home to the world's largest collection of reptiles, where your clients can get up close and personal with tortoises, snakes, crocodiles, and even some prairie dogs and birds. Close to Reptile Gardens is Fort Hays Chuck Wagon and Dinner Show. So this offers a little bit of a different dining experience for your clients if they're looking to go outside the normal restaurant. The downtown area of Rapid City offers many different wineries and breweries, along with some fantastic local cuisines. The Hotel Alex Johnson is a fun historical stay and is said to be a haunted hotel and located right within the heart of the downtown area. So Sturgis, the city of Sturgis, which is in the Northern Hills, is known for the world's largest bike rally all throughout the month of August. In the very most northern hills, you will find the quaint little town of Spearfish. As you drive the windy, beautiful Spearfish Canyon byway, there will be 3 waterfalls with enough room to stop and take in the beauty of each of those. There's hiking trails around there, and it's easily accessible as well. Fall time to see the color changes is my favorite time to visit. And in the town of Spearfish, your clients can find High Plains Western Heritage Center, which honors Western legends and pioneers of our area. And even further in the north, we find historic Deadwood. This is a Western outlaw town with saloons, gambling, a gold mine area, and all the buildings that you see on the downtown area are original. There's still cobblestone streets. And every afternoon in the summer, you're going to see people reenacting the shootout of Wild Bill Hickok. There's museums for history of gold panning in the region, and a museum for the historic rodeo that takes place every summer. So now we're going to move down into the Southern Hills. The 1880 train is an original steam locomotive that runs between Keystone and Hill City. You just may happen to see a Wild West shootout on your way to the next town. And of course, there is Mount Rushmore. When you're at Mount Rushmore, there's Carver's Cafe where you can eat, and you can also try Jefferson's original recipe for ice cream. Visit the sculpture studio where they worked in 1939 to 1941, which you see on the far right there. And you can also take a hike along one of the trails or visit their massive gift shop as well. And only 30 minutes away is Crazy Horse Memorial. This is the largest mountain carving in South Dakota. It is said to be that all 4 faces of Mount Rushmore can actually fit in the face of Crazy Horse. Now, this represents the Native American people and their history. It's still a work in progress, and on the bottom left, you can see what the carving will look like when they are done with it. So you can still go now, you can still go to the base of it, but they also have a great museum, a gift shop, a restaurant, and they regularly have Native American dancers and performers such as drummers there as well. And continuing with our Great 8, we have one of the world's oldest parks, and that is Wind Cave National Park. And as you make your way through the park to the location of the cave, be on the lookout for buffalo, elk, and other wildlife roaming the grasslands. But below the surface, it sits one of the longest and most complex cave systems in the world. You can take a tour with a guide and find out how it got its name and the history of the discovery of this cave. And our next one is Jewel Cave. This is also one of the longest caves in the world. I believe it's the 5th longest, and it has over 215 miles of mapped passages. And the cave is lined with calcite crystals, which is how it got its name, Jewel Cave. And only about 20 minutes away is Custer State Park, truly an outdoor paradise. There's so much to do, and it is our largest state park. We have an expansive buffalo herd containing 1,500 buffalo. Your clients can take the wildlife loop on their own and more than likely see buffalo, or you could take the Buffalo Jeep Safari ride that you see in the top right. And those chauffeurs will take you right up to the buffalo herd, and they will also tell you all the history about it and what they're doing to preserve the herd and the park as well. There's hiking and biking trails. On the upper left, you see Black Elk Peak, which is the highest peak east of the Rocky Mountains. And on Sylvan Lake on the bottom right, you can rent kayaks, canoes, paddle boards, and more just to enjoy the water. And you can see that there are some unique rock formations there as well. And even more to do in Custer State Park. Some lodging opportunities within the park is the Game Lodge. And this actually was used in the past to host United States presidents as their summer vacation home. And there's plenty of camping areas as well too. And the furthest south that we are going to be going today is Hot Springs. This is home to Moccasin Springs Natural Mineral Spa, which is open all year. And then there's also the Mammoth Site, which is the world's largest collection of mammoths. It's still an active dig site, and visitors can see the activities going on, learn of the mammoth, and learn about the mammoths that roam the grasslands here. And as you might have guessed, there's plenty of outdoor adventure everywhere in South Dakota, from hiking, biking, ATV rentals, horseback riding, balloon rides, and adventure parks. And we also have some winter activities as far as skiing, snowmobiling, and snowshoeing as well. So Custer State Park is actually known for many of their scenic byways. We have the Needles Highway and Iron Mountain Road, and that one is my favorite. As you come through that little cutout in the hill, it's a perfectly framed picture of Mount Rushmore, all the way from Custer State Park. And then we get into another one of our Great Eights, and that's the Badlands National Park. Rock formations with steep canyons, towering spires, and it can only be described as otherworldly experience. In my personal opinion, I think sunrise is the perfect time, as the pink and the reds in the rocks are the most vibrant. And they actually change throughout the day depending on the heat and this amount of sun that they get. So at the Badlands National Park, so this is where you're going to see the landscape really start to change from the Black Hills to prairies. The first settlers named it this as they could not grow anything in this area. Wildlife that lived there include bighorn sheep, buffalo, elk, deer, and prairie dogs. And there's a good chance as you're driving through, you're going to be able to see any one of those. That loop, the Badlands Loop, takes about an hour and 20 minutes without stopping, but there's many viewpoints along the way and great hiking trails as well. This is open year round, and like I said, sunrise is my favorite time. Sunset is also a great time. And there's camping anywhere in the park, but there's also Cedar Pass Lodge, and that is the only lodging that is within the Badlands National Park. And just outside the Badlands is world famous Wall Drug Store in Wall. Here you can grab Buffalo Burger and see the giant jackalope in the expansive backyard. Just a little bit down the road is Minuteman Missile Site, and this actually houses nuclear missiles that were placed here during the Cold War. And now we move into the Missouri River region, which is the center of our state, as the river runs down the center. And this is also where we experience a time zone change from mountain time to central time. So as you might have guessed, on the Missouri River, we have a lot of water recreational opportunities, including fishing, kayaking, water skiing, canoeing, and a lot of camping along the river as well. Here you're going to see Native American culture become in the forefront. And here on the right, you see Dignity statue. This is a 50-foot tall sculpture that represents the Native American women in South Dakota. And it was actually sculpted by a man that lives and is originally from South Dakota. The Native American Scenic Byway also runs right alongside the Missouri River all throughout our state. Here, which is where I am, is our state capitol. The capitol is beautiful and is free to tour. You can do a self-guided tour, and you can also have a guide you as well. If you happen to be here during the month of December, there are beautiful Christmas trees that line the hallways of the capitol that are decorated from businesses throughout our entire state. And we also have the Natural Heritage Museum, and this actually takes the visitor through the creation of South Dakota. And right across the river, we have Casey Tibbs Museum, and this showcases past and present rodeo greats from South Dakota. And like I said previously, Native American culture becomes very prevalent in this area. The southern part of South Dakota is filled with Native American history and heritage. There's many powwows throughout the summer, and we have a list online on our website that you can go and see when they're going to be held. And there's many museums and churches that showcase the rich history and culture. Some of the ones that we have pictured here are in St. Francis, South Dakota, and Rosebud, South Dakota. And on the top right, you see the Wounded Knee Memorial, which is right outside of Pine Ridge, South Dakota. In Chamberlain, we have the Acta Lakota Museum and Cultural Center. And this really walks you through the beginning of Native American life to how they live now and how they're trying to preserve that culture and bring back that language as well, so that more Native Americans are speaking their language. Here you see a beautiful shot of the Missouri River at Chamberlain, and also Arrowwood Resort is a beautiful place to stay if you're looking to stay right along the river. And now we will move into our southeast region. This is our most populous region. In Yankton, we have the National Music Museum, which is newly remodeled and just reopened last summer. It houses instruments that are featured in the Smithsonian. And we also have Lewis and Clark Recreational Area, which is a beautiful spot if your clients are looking to camp or have lodging right alongside the river with full access to rentals as well. And we get to the world's only corn palace. This is in Mitchell, South Dakota. So the murals that you see alongside the building here are actually made of corn and wheat grown around South Dakota. And they're changed out every summer according to a theme that they choose. During the night, as you can see in the bottom right, they light those murals up and you can see them and walk around that building as well. And we move into Sioux Falls, our largest city, which is right around 200,000 people. Falls Park, which you see on the left-hand side of your screen, is right in the center of the city, just a few blocks from the downtown. Downtown Sioux Falls is home to the Sculpture Walk, which you see a sculpture on the right-hand side. And that features different artists throughout the year, so it's changed many times throughout the year. We have a lot of local cuisines that are available here, as well as wineries and breweries as well. For events, for local bands, we have the Levitt at the Falls, and there's a lot of shopping, dining, and it's really an art-centric community as well. And speaking of art centric, here we have the Arc of Dreams, which is located right along the Big Sioux River in Sioux Falls. This is a sculpture that is actually was created by the same person that did the Dignity sculpture that we talked about a little bit earlier. Like I said, this spans across the Big Sioux River and it's nearly the length of a football field. And it measured 85 feet above the water. And now we move into the glacial lakes and prairies. This is the northeast part of the state. So you can go back into the pioneer days at Ingalls Homestead. So if you've heard of the book series or the TV series Little House on the Prairie, this is where Laura and her family actually grew up. You can bring the entire family for wagon rides and activities like corn cob doll making, which was popular in those days. And you can also visit the general store that she has mentioned in her book. Brookings is home to our largest university, South Dakota State University. And Brookings also has the South Dakota Art Museum, as well as the Agricultural Museum. McCrory Gardens is near the campus center, and it's a beautiful walkthrough with many different trees, plants, and flowers. And Watertown, which is right on Interstate 29. This is home to the Terry Redlin Art Center. And this building houses 160 of his original oil paintings. And most of his paintings depict life on the prairie through his eyes. And in the summer, the Terry Redlin Art Center has an expansive fireworks show during the 4th of July. And Aberdeen. This is home to Storybook Land, and it's a land inspired by nursery rhymes that we grew up with such as Goldilocks and Three Bears, Jack and Jill, and so on. The Dakota Prairie Museum is a museum that tells the history of the area and has quite a history of being moved back and forth and that building being used as education center for pilots during the World War II. And if you haven't picked up your cowboy boots and hat, now is the time to do so at the Hitchin Post Western Center, which is a very popular Western store. I've mentioned some local cuisines throughout the cities that we've mentioned, and some suggestions are a chuck wagon dinner. And then we also have Chislic and even a Chislic festival. And this is cubed meat that is seasoned and fried. And that Chislic festival is in Freeman, South Dakota. And there's many breweries and wineries and distilleries all throughout the state. South Dakota boasts incredible unique lodging opportunities: glamping, RV, tent camping, or cabins. There's a ton of locations for your clients. Under Canvas, which is near Keystone, has a beautiful view of Mount Rushmore National Memorial, and it offers nearly 90 camping tents with on-site activities and dining. And Buffalo Ridge Camp Resort is a luxury campground, and it embraces modern style and convenience while also celebrating nature. It has 86 acres to roam with deluxe cabins, unique tree houses, glamping canvas tents, luxury teepees, which you see on the bottom left, and some camping cabins, RV hookups, and tent camping sites as well. We also have camping at Mount Rushmore KOA at Palmer Gulch, which is the largest picture. And it's simple and luxury cabins. There's a hotel lodge, swimming pools. They can do trail rides and ATV rentals. There's a restaurant on site. They do weekly rodeos throughout the summer, and there's plenty of activities to keep the whole family busy. A few more unique accommodations that I want to point out. We talked about the State Game Lodge at Custer State Park. And there's also 5 or 4 other lodges throughout the state park. And there's a variety from luxury cabins and then also to the State Game Lodge, which used to be the summer home of President Coolidge. There's also Arrowwood Resort. We talked about that just right along the river in Chamberlain. They also offer lodge rooms, campgrounds, and luxury bunkhouses. There's indoor and outdoor dining there, along with boat rentals as well. Rushmore Shadows, which you see those covered wagons in the center. Those are lodging options along with cabins and tent sites and full RV hookups. And this is just outside Rapid City. And if you have any questions, I have all of our contact information here, our website, and you can also sign up for our travel professional e-newsletter at toursdakota.com. It's sent bi-monthly and it provides news on upcoming events, new additions, and other South Dakota travel tips. And Candace, if we have any questions, I can look through those now.
Thanks, Callie. I'm sorry, it just took me a minute to get back online, but thank you so much for that presentation. It was really, really informative. And gosh, there is just so many beautiful places within South Dakota that I am now really itching to visit. So thanks again for sharing all that with us. Travel agents, I just want to remind you again that if you do have any questions, you can please just pop them into the question and answer box at the bottom of the screen, and I'd be happy to read those questions to Callie on your behalf. In the meantime, Kelly, I had a few questions myself. One of them was something in regards to what we talked about a little bit before we signed on to the webinar. I was asking you how South Dakota is doing in terms of returning to pre-pandemic levels for travel. And you had an interesting answer that I thought it would be great for our travel agent community to know as well. Would you be able to share that with us?
Yes, definitely. So during the pandemic, South Dakota never shut down. We gave businesses the options to shut down, and we actually saw a huge spike in visitors because mainly we are such a great road trip destination and people are able to spread out and feel safe here. So our numbers spiked in about 2021, and right now they're settling back down to pre-pandemic numbers, but still great. People are wanting to get out and do a self-guided road trip and still feel safe.
Awesome. That's really interesting. So as opposed to some other destinations, which are just now starting to see a return to their normal busy times, what I'm hearing you say is that South Dakota got even busier, and so will have remained still a booming travel destination through this whole time. So that's great to know. And so it will be still really like pre-pandemic levels, but in a good way. So busy, but not overly busy, and no really lulls in travel there. So that's excellent to know. And then I'm assuming as well, for our travel agent readers to know, because I know that some restrictions in the US have just recently lifted. There is no restrictions currently in South Dakota.
Nope, there are no restrictions in South Dakota as far as traveling.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. And I have just a few questions now coming up here from Donna. She just has a comment and she says, sounds like there's so much to see. Thanks for a great presentation. Francine also said, thank you for a great presentation. And then we also have Lynn who says, thanks for the accommodation options. Are Are they all family friendly? Are any for wheelchairs that you would know of?
I can certainly get you a list of accessible hotels that are available for that option. Many of them already are. But all of them are family friendly, especially a lot of the resorts, like Palmer Gulch, a lot of things to do for those kids and grandparents, all in one place.
Awesome, thank you. Those are great answers. And then in terms of getting a list of some places that we know will be accessible, Kelly, if you have time after this webinar to find a list of that nature, I'm happy to share that with our travel agent readers in our follow-up email after this webinar is over. That will go out travel agents within about the next 24 hours, typically from the time that the webinar is over. And that's the same email. We will announce the winner. I've got another comment here from Chris. He says, I love your governor and I have clients doing a custom 1-week private tour in August. This has been so interesting. Thank you.
Great, love to hear it.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Chris, for that comment. And then lastly, I just wanted to ask for those Canadians, as you were mentioning before, a lot of Canadians are doing road trips down into South Dakota and they visited a lot of the main attractions. I'm wondering, did you have any off the beaten path attractions or places to visit that you really like and like to suggest to people when they come?
Yes, definitely. So I know I mentioned it and it is off the beaten path because it's not along an interstate, is Laura Ingalls Wilder, their Ingalls Homestead. And this place is great because if you have an hour to spend, they will fill that. If you have 8 hours to spend, they will fill that. And it's once again great for the kids, it's great for the grandmas. It's wonderful for all ages.
Oh, that's awesome. As a Laura Ingalls Wilder fan myself, that is definitely a place where I will visit when I come to South Dakota. And then I have a question here from Guy, and he asks, how's the golf?
The golf.
Yeah.
The golf is great during the summer. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay,
Especially out in
excellent.
the hills.
Okay, there you go. So the golf is great, especially out in the hills in the summer months in South Dakota. So thank you very much for answering that as well, Callie. And it looks like that is all our questions for today. And so I would just like to say on behalf of Travel Week, Callie, thank you so much to you and Travel South Dakota for joining us today for this presentation of our Travel Week webinars. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to all the travel agent readers who attended today. We are grateful for your participation. Again, you will receive an email within the next 24 hours and we'll share any further materials, information on the wheelchair accessibility that was asked. And you'll also see in that email who we pick as the winner of the grand prize of the Travel South Dakota swag box, which includes some shirts and socks and some awesome South Dakota art. So thanks again to everybody who joined. Callie, thank you again. It was great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed talking with you guys.
Thank you. Okay, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.